All right, so welcome to the AM show. Let's go into the papers and talk about what the papers are reporting this morning. And to help us do this today, we've been joined in studio by Samuel Ayeh-Paye, former MP Ayeh-Paye. We'll also be joined by Amma Pratt. She's press secretary at the office of the vice president there. Well, Honorable Paye is with us in studio. Honorable, good morning.
Good morning. My name is Paye.
Oh, it's Paye.
Ayeh-Paye.
Ayeh-Paye. Oh, how did I even?
You sound the last letter E.
Yeah, Ayeh-Paye.
Yes.
Okay, that's a sweet.
How are you?
I'm well, sir.
Good morning, madam.
Good morning, sir.
This is my first time of this studio.
Oh, this is
really?
your first time, huh?
I should.
Okay.
I think so.
I've been watching you and listening to you elsewhere. Now, what we do around the table is that when we are about to start, we give you, our guests, the opportunity to have a say on any topic that you want to. Then we can get into the papers.
Well, first of all, I'll say good morning to your viewers.
Okay.
I'm happy to be with you. Very beautiful studio. Also, good morning to the good people of Ghana. Those in Ayeh-Paye, my constituency, who gave me opportunity to serve them for 3 consecutive terms.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That was between 2009 and 2021.
Okay.
I'm highly grateful. I did a lot for them. And unfortunately, I lost the 2020 elections, general one to the NDC.
Okay.
And the good news is that the seat in 2024 is back to NPP.
Oh, okay.
Yes, Honorable Ayeh-Paye.
Okay.
With support of all of us in Ayeh-Paye, I mean the NPP in Ayeh-Paye have been able to take the seat back, and we are highly grateful. In a situation where there was a tsunami, and most of the, or should I use the word some, of the seats that are traditional seats for the NPP was won by the NPP. We have a Samarkese gone, Upper West Achim, and Isam nearly gone. Fortunately, we have it soon nearly gone, but we've been able to get it back, and Ayeh-Paye won convincingly. So it's a good news for us. My issue, or the issue that I want to discuss this morning, ought to do about the president's representative on the Attorney General and the Ministry of Justice.
Okay.
Trying to free, or well, the word it shouldn't be free, rather, but rather try to declare a no-case situation to some people who are on trial. Those who are in the Mahama One administration, that the previous NPP government found out that they've done something that needs to be questioned.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we have the Attorney General and Minister of Justice going to courts or writing to court to show his no interest in those cases. We had a party that was campaigning in 2024 for power. And they told us that even before we can say Jack, we are going to form ORA.
And they did.
And they've done it. And the ORA, what is the meaning of ORA? Operation Recover All Loot. So if there's a suspicion of looting in the previous government, I mean Mahama One's government, and the NPP government was trying to find out whether indeed there was some looting, and if the states had been looted, let the court find out whether indeed this looting is true or not. Then we found out the same party that campaign on Operation Recover All Loot is trying to free those that have been alleged, and prosecution is trying them in court for the same offense that you promised that you are coming to fight. It reminds me of a video that went viral, of which two masons were working, trying to load some sand into a wheelbarrow. And when the other is putting in the sand, the other mason is also using another shovel to take the sand from the wheelbarrow.
Well, but the people have not been acquitted. So when your party comes back to power,
why should
evidence, you can take it back.
The trust will be there when we see government trying its own people or appointees. It is there that we can say our democracy is on its top. A situation where you will see NPP in power trying NPP appointees who are being suspected of looting, and NDC also is in power. Then you see NPP trying the appointees of the NDC that have been suspected of any looting. In a situation where, because I appointed you, because you are my party member, you can go scot-free. Then NPP will also come and say that those that you are trying, I'm going to free them. Even those that the court has found them guilty, I'm going to pardon them. Then, of course, we can never, and the word is never, fight corruption in this country.
You know that the SWAL administration's argument, when we raise questions about why they haven't prosecuted people who we thought, or people in corruption-related cases, was that there was no evidence to actually prosecute these people. In fact, a few days or weeks ago, we spoke to the former Deputy Attorney General, Afenyo-Markin, and he reiterated that point, that we haven't seen prosecutions because there's no evidence.
What about those who are being prosecuted?
Hold on a second. Yes, if the NDC is riding on the same wave and saying that there's no enough evidence to keep trying these cases, have they really done anything?
But the evidence has been provided, and the people are on trial. If there's not enough evidence, it is up to the judge to say that, no, the evidence you put before me is not enough for me to criminalize the person that you've put on trial.
Yeah.
So go.
But what the Attorney General is saying is that in good conscience, some of these cases, he cannot continue to try them because it sounds like, a political witch hunt. And so
But evidence has been provided. So if it is political witch hunting, allow the judge to decide so. It is not up to the Attorney General to say that it's a political witch hunting, so go away. Look, one that bothers my mind is when I sat in Parliament and be part of a team that approved over $200 million to build 5,000 units, affordable housing at Seglem. And then they provided all the evidence that, yes, we are going to do A, B, C, D. But when you put the estimate together, it will give us over 200 million. You came back to tell us that, no, you couldn't build 5,000, but you have built 1,300. The 1,300 that you've built is not even to the state where we can say, go and stay in. Then we can't investigate to know what happened to the remaining 3,400 houses. The difference between 1,300 and 5,000 is so huge that we can't let it go. We must find out what happened to our $250 million plus dollars. It's huge money. If you take $1 million to Ayeh-Paye, the number of school structures that we can place, you saw it right on the screen. When some children were sitting, look at the board, the blackboard the teacher was using. We saw it just now. Take just $1 million to that community. And the changes that money can bring to the community, you have no idea. At times when I sit down and ask myself, what I used my common fund, which is 5% of the District Assembly Common Fund, to do in Ayeh-Paye, as compared to what the 95%, the remaining 95% is used, ask yourself, so what? Why? Why are we doing this to ourselves? $250 million?
Well, I mean, there are calls that they conduct independent value for money audits of wherever the 200 million went to. So hopefully...
This is not a... You see, the situation that you came to Parliament for parliamentary approval.
Right.
Don't forget, I've been chairman for Roads and Transport Committee in Parliament for 4 years.
Right.
And I've sat in a meeting as chairman to approve a lot of contracts.
Okay.
So before the contract will be approved, Speaker of Parliament make a referral to the committee. The committee sits down, they invite the ministry, the contractor, all the stakeholders at a round table discussions. And you prove to parliamentarians that when you give me 250 million, I will be able to provide 5,000 housing units. Before the approval was made. Now you come and you build only 1,300, and we ask you questions you can't answer. What country are we building for ourselves?
All right, we have to get into the papers because of time.
What can we do? Look,
Kojo.
we are just before we go into the newspaper.
Yeah.
We are having oil, onshore, offshore.
Yes.
Then GRA saying that, oh, we want to know how much those private companies who are main stakeholders of this onshore, offshore, so that we can take our taxes. We can't trust the custom officers and the GRA staff that we've put over there. Let's get a company to assess so that we can also get our taxes. Then you put a company there to meter the flow of oil so that you can make your taxes. We start asking questions. There was no contract between GRA or whoever appointed the person there. Yet, some monies had been paid to the company. It takes the president to say that, no, withdraw this contract, renegotiate, and re-award. Without punishing those who did not follow the laid-down procedure to get this contract signed before monies were paid.
You're talking about the SML deal?
Yes.
Okay.
And we think we are building a country. And we think that is fair. Because the other day it was Egleme. 250 million gone. So today we think it is okay to have SML. For me, if you want to build Ghana, let us sacrifice a bit. Let us be fair to ourselves as Ghanaians. My brother, would you get worried? Why people can't even get water to drink? And $250 million, convert into cedis. Take your calculator and do it. And see whether you can even pronounce the money. Multiply it by 15.
But is it everything that we can find? Is it all the 250 million that we can find?
We can't fight for everything. But issues that are clear. Okay. You don't need a law scholar to tell you this is corruption.
All right. Okay. All right, well, let's get...
Former President Akufo, just to former President Akufo said, until you are in trouble, you won't appreciate due process. So although you might think it's corruption and these people should be prosecuted,
well,
it appears there are some processes that they want to follow before they can...
That is why the laws are there.
Yeah. So
if you go contrary to the law, whether it is corruption or not corruption, we can be charged for negligence.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Let's
get into it. Let's start with the daily graphic. It says, assign governance roles to chiefs. That's according to Dr. Dufour. National Education Forum opens today. Ashanti Northeast elect reps for Council of State. Reset agenda. President names 3 key tasks. And Manson Kwanta MP urges government to position Ghana as chocolate hub. Now let's start with the president naming 3 key tasks. It says the government's major tasks ahead in resetting the country are amending the constitution, 1, holding past and present government officials accountable, and stabilizing the economy, President John Dramani Mahama stated. During a meeting with the Ghanaian community in Ethiopian capital Addis Ababa last Sunday evening, President Mahama painted a candid picture of Ghana's economic struggles, revealing that the country had been grappling with a severe economic crisis marked by unstable macroeconomic indicators. Quote, we have been going through a severe economic crisis with very unstable macroeconomic indicators, he said. Honorable, let me pick your thought on this. That 3 things he's looking at is amending the constitution, long overdue. People have been calling for it. You have been in parliament, so you can help us on that. Holding past and present government officials accountable. You were speaking about it a while ago, and stabilizing the economy.
Well, for the economy, I may say that with the support of the IMF bailout and the economic indicators that the NPP government left behind show clearly that the economy is being stabilized. We left debt to GDP of around 70-something%. Our inflation dropped from the COVID level of 54-point-something% to about 23%. It's not bad. Our, how do you call it, reserve, talking about the national reserves around almost $8 billion. If you look at all the indicators, it shows clearly that, yes, the economy is being stabilized. So what the current president, His Excellency President Mahama, should do is to maintain and improve upon the stability the NPP government left for him. Because looking at the previous economic indicators as compared to 2025, 7 January, it showed clearly that the economy was doing better, or has turned the corner, as the economists will tell you. And indeed, IMF and the World Bank also appreciated the fact that the economy is doing well. So he has no reason to fail Ghanaians. I said it before the election. I was having discussion with the NPP flag bearer, the former flag bearer of the NPP, Dr. Bawumia, and I said, we must do everything that we can, legally, lawfully, to win this election, because the windfall of the IMF bailout, we will start experiencing it from 2026, 2027 upwards. Any government that will win the 2024 elections is going to benefit from this windfall or the benefits of the bailout. And indeed, that is exactly what is happening now. So I don't think President Mahama should take us back. Rather, he should continue.
He's only painting the picture as he came to meet.
Yes, he should rather continue what we've left and the relationship that we'll be having with the IMF and the bailout to make sure that as the economy is gradually doing better, you improve it to get to where the IMF wants us to.
Are you saying that the current macroeconomic indicators that show that the economy is stable, or we are on a good tangent?
Yeah, a very good tangent.
It's attributed to the SWAL administration's efforts and the IMF.
Effort and the IMF bailout. That one, there's no doubt about it. The previous government cut down expenditure. They put up so many measures. Some IMF conditionalities do, but there's no doubt that it's yielding some positive for us to have.
How did they cut down expenditure? Just, give me a case in point.
When we say cutting down expenditure, if government plan that this year I'll build 10 schools, and looking at what we have and the crisis in which we find ourselves, I'm going to build 6 schools. You've cut down your expenditure. Normally, when we say cutting down expenditure, people gear their minds up to salaries of appointees that being cut by 50% and all that. That is not much. It can't have any positive impact on your expenditure. It is where you reduce, especially infrastructure development, and say that, Rome wasn't built in a day. So we decided to do ABCD, looking at why can't we do 6 this year? A typical example is Agenda 111. We planned doing all within a year. But because of the economic crisis, we decided to stagger the implementation. It is cutting down expenditure. So when we say expenditure is being cut down, at times when the media budget reviews is brought to Parliament and you study it carefully, a finance minister can decide to increase expenditure by adding more projects and adding more quote-unquote consumption expenditures. Some finance ministers will come to Parliament and you see they cut expenditure. Cutting expenditure includes reducing salaries and allowances, like the current president has just done. That instead of going business class or first class, you travel, and you travel on essential issues only. When those things are being implemented, we are cutting down expenditure. That's exactly what the previous government did. And some of them are also IMF conditions that we cannot allow to go. You must implement them.
Okay.
And those things, when you start the implementation, you will not get the benefits right at the implementation. It takes some time. A typical example is this domestic debt restructuring and the international debt restructuring, and also the how do you call it? The international debt restructuring gave us some relief. Those reliefs it's not money that they are giving it to you. The $2.7 billion that we're talking about, they are not going to give. But it is money that you were supposed to pay, that you are not paying. So it will take some time for you to see that, oh, I'm supposed to pay $2.7 billion to my debtors. And because of the relief, I'm not paying it. In 2-3 years' time, you start to benefit from those things that you haven't paid. So these are things that you cannot get the benefit right after the implementation. It will take some time. That I'm saying that the current government, rather, is going to benefit from some of this implementation or these policies.
So that's one angle of what he wants to. He's also looking at the amendment of the Constitution.
It's long overdue. For me, I sat in Parliament for 12 years and I asked myself, the Constitution should have been amended when it was 10 years had been stipulated in the Constitution. That 10 years is due for amendment, but we didn't. President Ofori was then the president. What I've noticed is that looking at the executive presidency that we are operating, the Constitution gives the presidents some advantages that they enjoy it so much that they don't want to forgo it. A typical example is the president appointing everybody, including those who represent us at the DC's assembly. How can you go for election and say you have a lower house? Our district assembly, if you go to the US, it is their parliament, it's the lower house. If you go to Nigeria, it is their lower house. So that is our lower national house. And then we will go and elect people to represent us. Then the president will appoint 30% of people he failed. He thinks he can use them to dilute the effectiveness of the assembly to go and represent the president at the assembly. This thing must change.
Yeah.
So, as for the Constitution, it's long overdue. I was observing what happened in South Korea, in which the president was in his room. They broke the roofing and the ceiling, got in there and got the president arrested.
Yeah.
The current president, he was in power. They arrested him, sent him to court. And our Constitution says what? Not until 10 years after he has left office. I don't think these things can help shape our democracy. President Rawlings supervised those things for certain things that had happened during the revolutionary era. Those eras are gone.
Okay.
And there's the need for us to look into them already. Apart from President Kufuor, my next best president was the late Professor Mills. I don't know, maybe I was in Parliament and I saw him and his administration and the way he started it. The only problem that he wasn't strong enough to see implementation of some of the policies he started until his death. Because he was so selfless and decided to forgo, to leave those presidential, should I call it benefits or whatever?
Yeah.
You appoint everybody. He says no. How can the president appoint the IGP? We have commissioners of police, COPs. The most senior COP automatically is the IGP. The most senior COP should be given the opportunity to be the next IGP. Or you allow the COPs, if you like, we add the deputy COPs to go and elect the IGP. You can ask. Maybe because of our coups and the previous history of our democracy, we can say the COPs, I'm talking about the CDOs. That one, can we allow the president to look into the military to appoint somebody he thinks he can protect him?
Right.
Anyway.
So this we can do.
Okay.
And then the third one he mentioned.
Yeah, the third one is looking at the holding past and present governor appointments.
That one,
I think that's where we started. Yeah, that's where we started from.
Why do you decide?
When we say past, it's past starting from 2017.
No.
So why? We are talking about past.
What do you think they ought to start from?
Is releasing from going to court. I also in past. If you talk about past, Past starts from 1993.
Okay, let's
the
make
Attorney
progress.
General has been giving that liberty by the Constitution to file a nullity and give reasons. He was not even supposed to
the power to do what to do. But when you are doing it, you must ask yourself, am I being fair to myself?
He has given reasons. You are not satisfied. Some of them, he says, I was a party to this case. I cannot advance an argument against the motion, against the state, and become the attorney
our jobs
and take another argument.
And the journalists and opposition, our jobs is to tell the president and his appointees that this thing that you are doing, you have the constitutional right.
Okay.
But be careful.
Okay.
But those who are going to judge us or judge the government is those electorates who are going to vote the next time, like it happened to the NPP. So when we push and you think, oh, you are the person Ghanaians has voted for, after all, you have 57 almost, 56 point something percent. So you can do everything. Even when Ghanaians and your own party people say that, no, reshuffle your government. If your members of parliament are telling you that, oh, reshuffle, we think the finance minister must go, and you think you are the one that has been voted for. So you can do otherwise.
Okay.
That was what happened in 2024. So if President Mahama thinks that he has the constitutional right to release people who are facing
I have the
judgment,
Times newspaper.
and he thinks he has the right to decide what, we leave it for.
All right, sir. Let's do some other stories.
Yeah.
No agreement to extend IMF program, according to President Mahama. And this is the Ghanaian Times newspaper. Stories on the front page. Dagbon Overlord pays historic reciprocal visit to Gonja King. On irrigation for wealth creation phase 1, government targets 10,000 hectares in 8 regions to boost agric production. And Prophet Salif Amwako, 2 others arrested. Let's get into the stories and get some more details. I want to start from what President Mahama is saying about no agreements to extend the IMF program. President John Dramani Mahama has given the indication that his government has not discussed the possibility of extending Ghana's $3 billion extended credit facility with the International Monetary Fund. In fact, I think it's related to Brace, the story he just did about what he's saying, what we should be focusing on, resetting the country. Quote, I think that it means that we must be more prudent in the handling of our finances. We must also look at the expenditure side and see how we can cut waste and also shift resources to more priority programs. And so it's a whole basket that we are looking at. He explained that unless it becomes necessary, there's no plan immediately to extend that IMF program. Let me add one more story and then I'll come to you for your quick reflections. And on the international front, Egypt, Jordan step up efforts to counter Trump proposal. Interesting times in the United States of America. The cocoa farmers who have never tasted chocolate. This is an editorial. Ghanaians must understand the current economic circumstances. And according to the World Health Organization, cancer is responsible for nearly 10 million deaths annually, with 1 in 6 deaths worldwide linked to the disease. Let me find one interesting story. Let's accelerate process of enacting dual citizenship amendment bill. Let's do this one. The Member of Parliament for Asin North, James Yeshikoisen, has called upon his fellow members of Parliament to accelerate the process of enacting the Dual Citizenship Amendment Bill. And this initiative aims to eliminate existing restrictions and foster a more inclusive governance framework. So, this bill represents a critical step in acknowledging the contributions of Ghanaians in the diaspora. And we have a lot, or should I say a large diasporan population. Is this something we should really looking to conclude on?
Yes, very well. We should. For me, I think that is what India and other countries are, even the Chinese, they go there, learn, and come and help their country, but sharing the experience that they've acquired in most of these multinational institutions. Today we are seeing on the industry front, China and India is doing very well. Some of the things they learned from their children and the citizens that they sent to those countries to go and study. Some decided not to come and they stayed there. They've learned a lot. They have come back to help them. A typical example is when we have Professor Frimpong Boateng.
Right.
He went there to learn heart surgery. He came back to set up the cardio center for us. Today we are all benefiting from the Kadu Center. My only worry is that most of them in diaspora only think they come down to take political appointments.
And I think that is where the problem is. He himself has been a victim.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For me, I disagree with them. If you've gone to learn anything, come, bring your investment as a private sector to come and help, not only to come and take political appointment and think that is what we should give you the opportunity to come and do.
But what is the danger there? Why should we be... What's the danger?
No danger, but I think if you want to help Ghana to succeed, for the political front, we have people to lead. And we have the experts here. Where we don't have enough expertise in terms of technology and capital investment, I would be grateful when somebody will come from Diaspora and say that, oh, for me, I have about $10 billion that I want to invest in this country. We are facing a housing deficit. It can go there. We have problems with infrastructure development, like the former Vice President, Dr. Bawumia, said, that how should government invest so much in infrastructure development, like school building, like hospitals? Can't we engage the private sector to build them?
On the same tangent, can the experiences not enrich the practice of our democracy? I mean, the global experience, whatever time they spend abroad, if they get citizenship,
that's what we are asking them.
But you are saying they should go into businesses, invest. But I'm saying, what about democracy, politics, governance?
Politics, governance, yes, they can come in there. But what I'm saying that it shouldn't be their main target. That is what we've been seeing them doing now. They only want to come and take political appointments. And I said, there we have the human resource to take care. And that doesn't mean that we will not allow that a few people like Jechi Kwesi and others can come and join if you go to a constituency and win. We have someone like the Educational Minister, Honorable Duchum, and others who have come to help. And indeed, their effort has helped this country to shape our educational sector and other sectors. So we are not saying that it is a no-go area for them. What I'm saying is that they should rather focus on investment, bringing in investment, bringing in technology, technical know-how to help shape our technological industry, and also on the business, investment in business, and that is exactly like Professor Mansu did.
Yeah.
He came set up Kado before he ventured into politics. So it's not bad that they should, but I think the actual focus should be on investment.
Okay, but if they do want to come back and enter politics, do you think they should denounce the other citizenship before they can serve?
We've been allowing them. I've given you two typical personalities.
Should we? Would it be prudent? Is it wise?
But those that we've allowed, they had to denounce before. That's why James Kwesi went through all of those problems. So remember Adamu Sakande?
Yeah, let's look at our laws.
Actually, you've gone.
Can amend the law and allow them to come, fine. But for me, I'm only advising them that what will benefit this country is they going into investment, bringing the technical know-how, things that they think they can do to help this country. They can also come with some of their friends who are very rich in other countries, who may not even be Ghanaians, to come and do investment in Ghana.
Actually.
So it shouldn't be, I want to enter politics alone. For me, I think it is not.
In terms of politics, there's, you remember James Kwesi? He's calling on Parliament to expedite the passage of Dual Citizenship Amendment Bill. Now, he says the bill represents a critical step in acknowledging the contributions of Ghanaians in the diaspora and ensuring that they have equal opportunity to participate in our democratic process. He says the passage of the bill would remove the restrictions Ghanaians with dual nationality face to create inclusive governance framework. So
when you speak this way, then you are creating an impression that, we just want to come and occupy the political space. That is why we are pushing the pressure to make sure that, these bills are passed. I'm not against the passage of this bill, not at all. But what I'm saying is that we should, as matter, also venture into business, venture into importation of technical know-how, so that we'll come and help train our artisans, our engineers, and other people, so that our industry will grow. But if the focus is that amend this bill for us, or this act for us, so that we can also come and enter politics, there we have enough human resources. Where we have the shortfall, that we need urgent support, It's investment.
But it won't hurt if they also want to come and join politics with their spirit.
I don't understand why we should drag this issue. I say, I am not.
We are just trying to pick your brain on what.
I'm not against that.
Okay.
I'm not against the passage of the bill or the amendment of the act. I'm not against it. But I'm only advising that they shouldn't put the pressure on the amendment. And I will create an impression that all what the Diaspora want to do for us is to enter politics. Where we have enough human resource to manage that. Where we have the shortfall, I'll be very grateful that we see some of them come into this country and say that I want to stop this Afenyo-Markin second home use spare parts business and get a company that can manufacture spare parts of some of the vehicles that we are using in this country. A typical example, the Toyota, the Hyundai, and those things. So that when I get that from Afenyo-Markin, I can go to the industry area to pick spare parts. When I come from Burkina Faso, people are from Burkina, Niger, Togo, Cote d'Ivoire, come to Afenyo-Markin to buy spare parts, second-hand spare parts that have been imported into this country by these spare part dealers. So if we have industries that can build those spare parts for us here, what do we think will happen? People will come and change our cities to come and buy, and it will make our city very strong.
So hasten slowly with the passage of this bill? Is that it?
No, that is not in connection with the passage of this bill, because whether the bill is passed or not, these businesses can still go on.
Okay. Yeah.
You can still come and invest. Don't forget that dual citizenship is already in existence.
Yes.
It is already in existence. What they are asking for is to waive certain things for them so that they can easily come and enter into politics. And I'm saying that when you do that, when you are pressing for that to be done, then the impression will be created that, oh, for me, all what I want to do is also come and join politics. But not to bring what I've learned, the expertise I have on other sectors of the economy, like trade, industry, and many. This is where we are expecting them to go.
All right.
For them, they have the opportunity to go without amendment of this act.
Okay. One last story from the Ghanaian Times newspaper. And it's a good time to usher in Amma Pratt into the conversation. She's Press Secretary, Office of the Vice President. Hi, beautiful.
Hi, beautiful.
How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Okay, welcome aboard.
Thank you.
We're just discussing.
We are doing hi, beautiful. So we are hi.
Because at this point, you know I'm biased towards the women, right?
Yes.
Actually, we spoke yesterday, but when we are done.
Hi, handsome.
Really? So let's do this story. Interior Minister advocates for non-custodian sentence to decongest country's prisons. Good call, but let me give you some details before we get into the conversation. The Minister for the Interior, Mohammed Mumbarak Muntaka, has said the government should prioritize the decongestion of prisons by implementing non-custodial sentences as option to reduce the prison population. And he made these remarks yesterday during a courtesy visit to the Director General of the prisons. And the minister was accompanied. He stressed that although the government was committed to transforming the poor welfare Ghana prison services into one of the most attractive security services in the country, the increasing population of inmates is a major challenge. In fact, I don't know if any of you have ever visited the prisons and you've seen how they live in there, how people are crammed into small spaces like sardines in a can. Let me throw that to you, Amma Pratt. Get a first bite at it.
Yes. So, I mean, my take on this would be, what's the point, of putting people in prison? That would be where I would want to look at this from. Is it that we want to punish them, or is it that we want to reform them? So perhaps for me, it would be to start the conversation from there. Let's understand, what our stand is when it comes to, all of this. If it is to punish them, then you can understand sometimes the inhumane conditions under which, they are made to exist and to live. Yeah. If it is to reform them, then perhaps the conversation would have to shift a little bit, and then we can look at perhaps the processes they go through while they're not just, the punitive aspect of the process. It's a good call. Reforms are always good. Our laws, when they are made, is not just about, the letter of, the words. It's also about the spirit of, the words that we use and the way that we word, our law. So I'm always up for review, to take a new look at existing laws and to see how you can make it better. Because let's be real, societies are dynamic. The law by itself is also dynamic. So what perhaps served us today might not serve us the same way tomorrow. So it's always important to have a look at it, to make adjustments where we can, you know, to look at where society is headed at any point in time, and to have laws that can make the process smooth for everybody. So if as a society we examine ourselves, 2025, what's our position? How do we view, you know, putting people in prison? What's our end game? You know, what are the numbers?
Right.
You know, because I remember speaking with Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo some time ago, and he spoke about, you know, being in prison, and then Mr. Kwame Mpenim, I think, as a prisoner himself, being able to advocate for prison reform such that a hospital was built for them, and, you know, so, I mean, it's a big conversation.
Right.
There are lots of experienced prisoners in the system who can aid, you know, the process, some for bad, some for good, because I've also spoken to, you know, people who have done very terrible things who also ended up in prison, you know, and sometimes at the back of your mind you are thinking, yes, good, next time don't do it again, you know.
In some parts of the world, prison, you land on
there are people who go into prison, you know, not for perhaps for our collective good. There's that too. There are those that end up in prison who are there because they want to reform society. You know, so it's a nuanced conversation, and I'm happy that we come at it, you know, having the full picture and perhaps having the end game, you know, in mind.
Okay. In some parts of the world, prisoners are treated like a human capital, right? They put them to work. They're the ones on the farms, in the factories, manufacturing things, and so they're not wasted. Here, every once in a while, you see them weeding around, begging for some coins, cleaning gutters. Is that the best we can do? So let me put this to you. So this call for non-custodian centers to decongest the country's prison. What do you make of it?
Talking about cleaning the gutters, weeding around is
it's useful.
Yes.
Okay.
Because the Ministry of Roads and Highways used to give it to this one-man contractors to do it for us, and the money that goes into them, if we can use our prisoners to do it, and this money goes to the prisons, it will even go to create opportunity for them to get the reforms that we want them to have. So I am thinking that we take a decision that henceforth those cleaning and weeding, cutting the grass on the roadside should be given to the prisoners to do it. Non-custodian sentence, there are so many things that we have to do before we can implement it. It's a good call, but how can it be implemented? The previous government put in place the Ghana card and then the digital address system to housing. If that is not well implemented, if that is not, we don't make sure that every single Ghanaian ID card is linked to your residential address, your digital address system. You can't implement non-custodial sentence. You let the person goes out, and the next time you are looking for him, you won't get him. So in other jurisdictions, as soon as your fingerprint is taken at the prison gate, you can't hide, you can't run away. Even before you get to the borders, want to cross to Togo, Burkina, wherever that you go, as soon as your fingerprint is put there, they can know, hey, you are a prisoner. You are under a non-custodial sentence. Report to this office, or they take you to the office, and then maybe they take you back to prison. But in a situation where we have footpaths that leads Ghana to Togo, footpaths that lead to Ghana to Cote d'Ivoire, farm gates leads Ghana to Burkina Faso. If you give me non-custodian sentence, I find myself close to Boku or maybe Aplau, I'll just ask the farmer, are you going to farm? Or can I go with you? Then before I realize he's in the other side of the country. So those things might be put in place. But what we can do right now is to fast-tracking trials of those who are in remand.
For stealing a chicken.
Look, go and do a research in our prisons. About 40% of the people that you are saying that they have been clamped in prisons are remand prisoners. Some have been there for 15 years. Some have been there for 20 years on remand. Let's try them. Let's fast track the trial. So those remand prisoners who have done nothing and are suffering because they are not getting trial should allow to leave the scene, so that they can create space for others. Okay. That one, you don't need any blockage of unauthorized route to our borders. You don't need any implementation, full implementation, and linking of Ghana card to the digital address system, though that has been done already, but not everybody is having Ghana card. All what you need is that setting up a priority court system for remand prisoners. Everybody who has been in remand for 15 years or maybe 5 years or more should be given a fast track. At times you ask those warders who are taking care of the prisoner, and they will tell you that, my brother, all what we need are vehicles. Vehicles to convey these prisoners to court. And just, you ask them, oh, we've sent their docket to Attorney General, waiting for advice. Is it that we don't have enough staff at Attorney General Department? Can't we have now the law schools, there are so many law schools, there are so many lawyers who are even not working. Let's take a deliberate attempt to say that we want to free our prisoners. 2 things we can do immediately. Number 1 is to make sure that those who are in remand will be tried. If they are not guilty, they get out. If they are guilty, we put them back there. And then we expand the prison infrastructure. But for custodial sentence, if you don't take time now, you know my constituency is close to some prison. We quite remember when we were young. This prison will come and comb the villages. Why? Because they are looking for somebody who has broke jail and so many. Oh. So it's something very common. Let alone giving the person non-custodian. The next time you can't look for you look or you can't even find him.
You've actually painted a picture of the problems. I'm curious to find out from your experience.
Yes,
is it a leadership failure problem, or is it just some gaps in the judiciary system that needs to be?
If government want to expand in someone prison twice its size, it is possible. The money is there. We can do it. Quite recently, Church of Pentecost decided to get a decent accommodation and training facilities for some prison. Well, look at what they've done. I was there when they handed over the facility to government. Look at what the Church of Pentecost has done. And government can do twice of that. So the issue is about if the Interior Minister, Honorable Minister for my senior man in Parliament, if you want to help prison, the first thing you must think of is expansion of the facilities. Number 2 is fast-tracking the trial of those in remand prisoners. When was this Michael? 10 years ago, the MP for former MP for JB Dankwa. The last time the sexy Dondon, you call him, went to court, he was crying, I'm tired, I'm fed up. How many times do you want me to come to court? Look, if you go to prisons now, there are some prisoners on remand who want to say that, okay, I haven't done it, but I'm guilty. You jail me. Because if they jail for 10 years, you've been in remand for 15 years. So they deduct the 15 years from, maybe if they give you 10 year sentence, they will deduct your 15 years, 10 from 15. You have negative 5 years. Even government may end up compensating him and allow him to go home. So some are even crying that, I want to go to court. You see, some are not guilty. Some are guilty. Some of the offenses that when they get judgment, they may not be in prison for 3 years. But they've been in remand for 5 years. So what are we waiting for? President Kufuor brought this justice for all process where the Chief Justice and the team go to prison and try those in remand and then ask them to go home and all that. We can start something like that. We can continue.
It's ongoing. Last year
But still, you see,
no, without its own controversy.
Kwame built its own prison. And since then, I don't think apart from the, how do you call it? The Church of Pentecost. No, I don't think we have had any meaningful or deliberate expansion of the facility. Okay. And it is important we think of that. You see, we go to prison to reform. But unfortunately, on our side of the world, people return from prison and they become drug addicts. Some become homosexuals. Some become even hardened criminals. Very few came out reform. Let me end by this story. One of my cousin's son, who is my nephew, my auntie left a compound house in the village. So when the woman died, they shared the house to the children and the grandchildren. So my nephew had one single room with a porch. He rented it out to a coconut seller in the village. For 2 years, the boy was not paying the rent. He approached the guy, so I was selling coconut. Now business is not good. I don't even have capital to go and buy the coconut. Then somebody stepped in and said that, oh, can we help this poor boy if you can even lend him money so that he can continue with his coconut business? Then my nephew gave this guy 2,000 cedis. Go and trade. I'll take percentage of the profit you make, and then you also get money to pay my rent. So they enter into that agreement. For additional 2 years, not a penny had been paid from that 2,000 investment. Neither has he been able to pay the rent. The guy reported the matter to the police. The police give him a written note. Go and give it to they gave the note to the complainant to be given to the suspect. And the complainant was in the house with the wife and 2 children. The next time we heard shout, people enter the house. My nephews have been killed, flat, dead, in front of his own house, his grandmother's house.
By the same person?
As for now, he has denied it. I said, no, as a senior member and a former MP in that family, I will not allow this case to die. So I quickly reported the matter to the police. Even for Kota police to come and arrest the boy because they know it wasn't right to give a note to a complainant, to somebody who has come to complain. Anytime I go for my money, that guy wants to fight me. He told the police that anytime I'm going for my money, the guy fights me. That alone should inform the police officer not to send the complainant to the accused person. So I said, no, I took the matter up. I reported to the regional commander, Eastern Region. The boy was arrested. We went for pathology, how do you call it? Help me. To do the pathology test. And it came out that the boy, they used a blunt object to hit the head. So I have the report here. The guy has been arrested.
It's sad.
To take the boy to court, I always have to step in. Now I've decided to engage a lawyer to assist because the police is even reluctant. As I speak, the guy is in remand. And when you go to prisons, we have cases like this. The last time I spoke to CID, we've sent a docket to Attorney General, we haven't received the report. So the guy is still in remand. Whether he was the one who killed my nephew or not, we don't know. But we have such cases in remand. So I think that we must, as a country, take steps to, 1, expand the facilities in our various prisons. 2, to fast-track cases that are pending in court. Whilst, look, Afoko was bathed with acid some time back. How many years now Gregory Afoko has been in remand? And the reason they gave that, they went to Gregory Afoko's room, they found one of his trousers being torn by acid, and a cup or a bottle, they suspect, was holding acid. What evidence again do you need? Look, in the sexy Dondon issue,
well, sir, that's somebody you have to go and
somebody said that I was in circle when somebody brought.
Please land on this point.
Exactly.
Thank you.
So what are you waiting for?
I just wanted to add that, I mean, from everything that has been said here, clearly there's also need for expansion of legal education in Ghana. And that's a huge conversation that nobody wants to have, but perhaps we should have. Because I've heard people in the chain, I've heard police officers, I've had, judges, all of us complain about, the lack of skilled hands. Because all the experiences that he shares, it comes down to skill and knowledge.
But there's been some improvement over the last few years.
It can be better.
Okay.
I think we all agree that it can be better. We all push for the best.
Because when we spoke about it, then Ghana School of Law, they did that program where they take a lot of students. Some go to Makola, others go to. Then they do their.
My brother, before you for that one, if you go to Legon on the bypass, the Legon bypass, they are building very huge institution.
Ghana School of Law.
You see, for me, it's not about the numbers that we accommodate year in, year out. It's about the market, the need. So I think we are not having the conversation, for me, the right way.
Okay.
how many lawyers does Ghana need today? If Ghana needs 1,000 lawyers, and we are still around 100, and we say, we've done 200, so we are doing well. Are we?
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Are we?
Yeah.
So for me, that's the conversation. What do we need?
Okay.
And how are we meeting the needs?
So sort of the demand gap.
That's it.
And then we close the gap.
That's it.
But again, the point about the Ghana card and linking it to where we live, that could probably bring about the custodial sentence. That would limit.
Done. That has been done. What I want it to be done is that we should have gadgets in our various police posts where I can insert Ghana card and get the details of you. The policeman can either arrest you, have a gadget or a system where he can punch your Ghana card. Because the Ghana card, when handed over to you, you will not see my age on it. You will not see my residential address on it.
But that's what your thumbprint is supposed to reveal. Exactly.
But do they have those verification gadgets at various police stations?
Right.
No.
Well. But that's our time. Let's quickly go through the stories on the front pages, on the papers you have, and then we can go.
So go over it.
Yes.
Okay. So Jakwa entered Ken's house with arrest warrant. That's the national security. The story is on page 3. Should I read the story?
Yeah.
Okay. Businessman Richard Jakwa has been appointed Director of Special Operations at the National Security Secretariat. His appointment dates back to January 31st, 2025. This settles controversies over his involvement in a raid on former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta's residence last week. Okay. Eyewitnesses claimed... Oh, that's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
We don't have so much time. So, what stories do you have on your front page?
Commissioner General under SML Gavel.
Okay. Could you any more stories from your end? All right. Thank you all so much for joining us. That's our time, unfortunately. I was really enjoying myself. Amma Pratt is Press Secretary, Office of the Vice President. And, of course, Samuel Ayeh-Paye. I nearly said Paye. Ayeh-Paye is former Member of Parliament for Ayenswanom. Thank you all so much. Do stay with us because sports comes up next. But before we go, the Ghana Police Service has arrested the... Okay, we'll take a quick break. Sports comes up next and we'll be right back.